I don't know what that is. I'm scared. Apparently I need to study. Probably the worst element I could have got. It is not pretty. Quite ugly, actually. I mean, it does not get much more spaghetti bowl than this. Somehow I have to save this track layout. This is going to be difficult. Hello everyone, welcome back to TH Designs, where typically we're recreating an existing coaster or creating our own custom coaster. Today we're going to be doing something a bit different. I'm not going to be the one designing the coaster. What if we let a random wheel decide literally everything about the next coaster we built? Not just the type of coaster, but the layout, the style, the theming, the whole entire vibe. I don't get to choose anything, the wheel decides how the coaster goes. My only job is I have to make it look good after the fact and make it into a beautiful cinematic. This is going to be weird, definitely janky, but maybe that's the fun of it. Welcome to the site of where these coasters will be. This is the home of the Wheel of Wonders, which I guess is what I'm coining the wheel as. It's a very basic, generic, simple park, the very bare minimum, because really the focus of this park and hopefully series are these coasters, making them look good and having fun with all these different elements that we're going to be working with. Before we dive in, let me show you the wheel that will be making these coasters. Welcome to the Wheel of Wonders, as I've self-coined it. Now you may notice what is on this wheel, and this is the caveat to this entire challenge. Not only are we working with unpredictability and randomness of what elements come and what themes come and what coasters come, we also have to work within a challenge. So as you can see, here are about 10 to 15 that I could come up with. If you guys have ideas, please comment them down below. I want to make this even bigger and better. These are just the ones I could come up with at the moment. But you can see different ones like limited to 100 by 100 grid. There must be a second launch or chain lift, must be a shuttle launch, must interact with water, cannot exceed 100 feet in height. Not only do we have to work within the parameters of the wheel and the elements that it chooses for us to build, we also have to deal with one of these. So let's spin it and see what our constraints are. Maybe the funniest one. Of course, it's as it says, we have to not only deal with everything else, we have to also have a train that has the minimum amount of cars, which is likely 2, which for most coaster models is going to be extremely goofy. And more technically, this actually could be problematic because the coasters could be lighter and momentum is going to carry as far. So hopefully we get a launch coaster. But with this challenge in place, the next step is to choose what coaster we're going to be working with. Alright, welcome to the wheel that will probably decide how difficult this challenge is going to be. Whether we get a launch Mach or Intamin or Vekoma makes it a lot easier than if we get a mine train or a multiverse coaster. I'm not sure what I want here. I guess it's just something that inverts. It just makes it so much easier. Sit down over the shoulder. I'm pretty sure that's the typical B&M sit down coasters like the Hulk or Pumbaa. Let me check. Yes, so this is the sitting coaster by B&M. Pumbaa, as pictured right here, is probably the most iconic example. Technically, the Incredible Hulk is also an example. This is a pretty easy coaster type to work with because really it can do anything. There is a lot of creative freedom here to work with. This should be pretty interesting. Yeah, so the sit down over the shoulder is that model, as you can see in that picture right there. Let's build it. I imagine we'll build it probably over on the right here. We can make this station way shorter. Let's see how small we can make this. Yeah, as I feared, 2, which is pretty hilarious. It almost looks like a Eurofighter. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because the Incredible Hulk is the same model. Yes, so it can have a drive tire launch. We have to decide if we're going to have a launch or a chain lift. Let's see what we get. Tire launch. Okay. Tire launch makes everything a little bit easier. Alright, now that we have the chain lift built, let's look into how fast the launch has to be. The minimum is 30 miles per hour for this coaster model. The maximum is 67. That's a really healthy range for us to work with. So let's see which one it wants us to use. Really, any of them, no matter what element follows the launch, I feel pretty good about. 40. Okay. No complaints with 40. Most elements should be perfectly okay with 40. So welcome to the biggest wheel of them all. This wheel has so many elements you can't even see them. It has every element on coasterpedia.net. Just about every type of coaster element you can think of is on this wheel. So let's spin it and see what is happening immediately after this launch. Reverse Cobra Roll. Okay. So the reverse Cobra Roll that I can think of, and there may be other examples, is on Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags over in Georgia. It essentially is exactly what it says. This is the best way to explain it. I'll put a little POV so you can kind of understand. Best way I can think of doing it after this launch, and this is actually a pretty good element to have after this launch because it's going to have a great drop after. It's actually going to be a really neat element. I'm going to build it real quick. We're going to time lapse through it, and I'll see you guys when it's done, and we can critique it and poke fun at it, whatever. Alright, there is the reverse Cobra Roll done. It rolls really nicely through it. It's a really nice speed. An extremely interesting drop. Great speed coming out of it. Whatever element comes next, I'm feeling pretty good about. Alright, let's see what element is going to follow after the reverse Cobra Roll. Not sure what I'm looking for here. I guess something that turns? Non-inverting Cobra Roll. Alright. Quite funny. Ironic that it's following a reverse Cobra Roll. Alright, here's a great photo of the non-inverting Cobra Roll. I thought it was way more common than it is. Apparently it's only found on one ride, and that's Conda. I think it could look great going over the launch, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna get to it. Alright, I think I have it. Let it be known, this is an extremely weird and not even an inversion, I guess that's the point. But like, it just behaves so strangely, but it's technically correct. It looks phenomenal. I mean, like, just like without like the POV aside, I mean, just these two elements right next to each other and this kind of wrapping around. It just looks fascinating. Alright, we are back at the extremely unforgiving wheel of elements, and I hope it gives us something much easier. Wave turn. Okay. Wave turns are easy. Wave turns are very often something seen on RMCs. It's very similar to an overbank turn, except it kind of like peels out. Let's see what we can do. This is actually really nice because I kind of want to have the rest of the track come over here. Alright, I feel fairly happy with it. Yeah, you can see it kind of comes in a little hot, but let's see what element follows after. Anything kind of works here, as long as it starts from the ground, I suppose. Bow tie. It's a bow tie. Okay, so there has only been one bow tie ever made, and it was on Dragon Mountain. It looks like a bat wing, except it continues going the way it came rather than, you know, Batwing, which comes back. Alright, there is the bow tie done. I feel fairly good about it. It proved more difficult than I thought it would be. But let's quickly see what's next. I think we're a few elements away from wrapping this up. Alright, hopefully it gives us something that gives us the chance to turn. Okay. So the nice thing about this is it actually gives us the chance to go any direction we want. So at least, you know, we kind of got what we wanted. Okay, I think that's probably good. I mean, it's an extremely simple element. I'm gonna fix the banking real quick and then we can move on to the next element. That helix felt very Giovanola-ish with all those hard lateral G-forces. Hairpin turn? Okay, so if you alright. So if you don't know what a hairpin turn is for roller coasters, it's what you think of when you think of a wild mouse. It is quite literally probably the worst element I could have got. At least it turns, I guess. I mean, I have to do it so that the G-forces aren't bad, but like, it is not a pretty element. It has no place on this kind of ride. I guess I'll bring it up and I'll see you when it's done. Alright, so I mean, it's an extremely easy element to make. Obviously it can't have any banking. It is not pretty, quite ugly actually. I think it's a good enough speed coming out of that helix that it's, I guess, realistic. Yeah. I mean, not a pretty looking coaster, so this is going to be difficult. Alright, let's see what potentially the last element could be. Depends on what it is. I don't know what that is. I'm scared. Okay, so Sea Serpent is kind of like the bow tie version of the Cobra Roll. Yeah, this shows it pretty well. Yeah. Let's do it, I guess. Okay, I think I've got it down. It's obviously extremely small, but just because we don't have that much momentum coming. Let's see how it takes this. You know what? That's pretty solid. I mean, like, all things considered. Okay, and we have enough room for another element. A loop would be cool. Maybe we could do that around. Alright, let's see. Please be generous, wheel. No more Cobra Roll variants, I beg. I don't know what that is. Apparently I need to study. Alright, so a Norwegian loop. Oh, it's like on Fahrenheit. Okay. This isn't too bad, I think. Okay, so it's done. It's like the best interpretation I think I could do. It certainly looks cool going, like, with the track going through it. I mean, we're near the end of the ride, so I think let's get one final element in. I mean, look at this. It looks like a spaghetti bowl. I mean, like, this is whack. All right, Let's get one last one, I think. All right, let's get one last one. We're starting to really run out of momentum. It's almost certainly because of those 2-car trains. All right. Yeah, we can do it. If you don't know what a 0G stall, it is almost exclusively an RMC thing. You can see some Intamin, but I mean, look at the first people to do it for the first 5 years. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a 0G roll, except it stalls at the top. Most RMCs nowadays have them under the lift. I think this is a great one. Goliath. Alright, it's a bit of a modified version. It's not exactly a stall as you would probably think of one, and if you were to be mad at me for it, I would actually understand. Also, obviously, it does go over the brake run. The nice thing about having such a short train is you can have such a short brake run. That actually was a big save. So, this looks like it's the final layout. I mean, it does not get much more spaghetti bowl than this. Let's figure out what theme we're gonna have to do. Alright, welcome to the last wheel we will be spinning, which is the theme wheel. Somehow I have to save this track layout and make it look good, and it's going to be through the vehicles of one of these. We have all the official themes that are in Planet Coaster 2. We also have a pie that says Ask AI, which is a custom one. Let's see what this coaster will be themed as. This monstrosity. Western. Alright. It is a wild coaster. I'll give it that.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Alright, I believe that just about wraps it up. All the scenery looks to be finished. I can't really see anywhere else that I think I want to give more love and TLC to, so I think we're looking pretty good. I mean, we started off with obviously an extremely whack track layout. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this challenge, but I feel we did a fairly good job at making it look somewhat good. Of course, we had the Western theme, and like I kind of said before, I was going to focus most of it around the station and like maybe a little plaza, which is kind of what I've done. I decided to name the ride Deadeye. I don't know why, just kind of is what came to mind. It's a Western cowboy term, and maybe this is that. I don't know. The Western theming in the game that they just recently added is really good, so I actually had a lot of freedom to work with. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Yeah, I added this concrete pad where it kind of goes underground, as you see in many B&M coasters that go subterranean. But yeah, I think we're looking pretty good. I tried to make something happen with this hairpin turn by making like this shed with almost like this show moment. Kind of the ongoing theme for the ride is this train. Not only is there the train here, there also is a train sound effect that plays in this little shed and smoke pops out here. I wanted to just make it a little bit more than like Cedar Fair theming, you know what I mean? That's why I added this kind of almost watchtower looking thing. These speakers that play different sound effects. Because otherwise the layout is fairly generic. Which is okay, I mean, that's really all we could do. Let's go through real quick what we did in this episode. And of course, first we have a 2-car train, which was the first challenge we were brought to. Then we have a 40-mile-per-hour launch that goes through this watchtower into our first element, which the wheel decided was going to be an inverted cobra roll. One of the most beautiful ride elements, in my opinion, out there. It looks fantastic. Diving into another cobra roll variant, being a non-inverting cobra roll. Then it goes into a wave turn, a very RMC type element. Then into a bow tie, another element that only exists one in the world in Canada on Dragon Mountain. Then through the Norwegian loop. Then into a downward helix, of course a very common element. Into the biggest curveball of them all, the hairpin turn, something you see on a Wild Mouse. Then we have a little bit of an accelerator with the drive tires there. Then we have a sea serpent, which is another fantastic looking element, into that Norwegian loop around the track. Into a 0G stall, a bit of a modified 0G stall. wrapping around all this scenery into the brake run, past the transfer track, back into the station. But yeah, I think this concludes our first entry into this park. The wheel definitely threw us some curveballs, but I think we dealt with them pretty nicely. Not a bad first installment, so hope you guys enjoy. If you guys really like this content, make sure to let me know, and we can make even more. This whole park is set up to have more installments. The wheel will be different every single time. That's kind of the attraction of this challenge. So I had a lot of fun doing it. If you guys had a lot of fun watching it, please let me know, because I would love to do more of these. Like I said, let's cut that cinematic.